Hello and welcome back. This is our first video in the psychological part of our technical, tactical, environmental, psychological, physical, social framework. This first video about psychological sports science applied to freestyle kayaking is about flow states and a more advanced type of flow state, which we'll be talking about later. So let's start off with talking about flow state. Flow state. It was first identified by psychologist Mihaly, Csikszentmihalyi, and it is detailed in this brilliant book that I'll put down in the description. Flow state is characterized by a complete absorption in the activity. It's a loss of self-consciousness. It's a distorted sense of time. It is effortless action and automatic performance. You have clear goals and immediate feedback. Recent research by Nakamura and Csikszentmihalyi in 2014 confirms that flow occurs when there's an optimal balance between perceived challenge and skills, leading to what they term emergent motivation, where the experience becomes intrinsically rewarding. For freestyle kayakers, flow often emerges during practice sessions or when conditions are perfect. Imagine going out and working on a friendly wave when the levels are prime with your best friends. You're not thinking about the mechanics. You're just feeling the water and responding instinctively. Your movements sync up perfectly with the rhythm of what you're trying. Things happen effortlessly. This is where you truly feel like you're paddling at your best. And I've heard kayakers talking about how they're trying to enter flow state in competition, or how they had such a good performance because they entered flow state in the finals. If you talk to those athletes and really get in depth about what they're feeling or what they're thinking about during those moments, it doesn't actually quite match up with our definition of flow state. However, it might match up with their definition of our next one, which is clutch state. Clutch state was more recently researched by Christian Swan in 2017 and has different characteristics. You have complete focus on your task. You have heightened awareness of yourself and the situation. You have intense effort and deliberate control. You have increased motivation from the pressure. You have specific pressure-related goals. And it often occurs in high-stakes situations. Now, think of a kayaker in the finals of a major competition. They're intensely aware of every movement, deliberately executing each element of their routine. The pressure isn't dissolving, it's actually fueling their performance. And we'll talk about the key differences between flow and clutch states. One of the key differences is the consciousness level. Flow is automatic, subconscious performance. Clutch is deliberate, conscious control. Our second point is the effort. Flow feels effortless, it feels automatic. Whereas clutch state is intense, deliberate effort. Where it gets really interesting now is the situational trigger. Flow occurs during optimal conditions and mostly during practice. That's where you spend most of your time. Clutch, however, is triggered by pressure and by importance. It's also different based on your goal focus. Flow is process oriented. You're immersed in the moment. You do what's next because it feels right to do that next. Clutch is outcome oriented. You're focused on achievement. You do what's next because you know you need those points to win. You know you need to do that trick to score enough points to get into the next round. Now, freestyle kayakers might interact with these two states in different ways. The scenarios around when flow state might occur is with training sessions on a familiar feature. You're exploring a new spot even maybe with no pressure. Or you're free practice before or after a competition. Sometimes it's just recreational paddling with your friends. Sometimes you have that session where everything you try works and it just flows all together beautifully. The clutch state scenarios are different. You have your competition finals. You have attempting a new trick and there's a few people as an audience watching you, friends maybe. There's also the consideration for athletes who have sponsorship contracts. Sometimes you might have high stakes video shoots where you have to get a certain number of tricks in the video and you have a limited time to do it. It can put quite a bit of pressure on you. Sometimes it's just even performing under challenging water conditions. Now, as freestyle kayakers, flow and clutch states are both useful. Flow states in your training, clutch states in your competition. When it comes to training, you can train your ability to enter these states. I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can enter these states, starting with flow state. To train entering flow state, you need to talk about your environmental setup. Create a distraction-free training environment. Establish a clear progression through what you need to do. Set challenges slightly above your current skill level and maintain consistent practice schedules. And use video analysis for immediate feedback. Now, if you've watched my previous 5 videos, all of that's going to sound pretty familiar. It's practice, practice, practice. You also have mental preparation. Practice your mindfulness meditation. Develop pre-performance and pre-training routines that minimize overthinking. Try and draw yourself out of your head. Allow your subconscious to take control. Use visualization techniques, focusing on the process rather than the outcome. And implement some breathing exercises to help you enter that automatic regulation of your breath and your moves. And this leads into your skill development within flow state. Focus on automaticity through repetition. Practice in varying conditions to build adaptability. Use constraint-led approach to learning these new movements. And incorporate play and exploration in your training sessions. Again, this whole section, if you've watched the previous video, should all feel very familiar. Something that may not seem familiar is the training that you need to do so that you can more regularly access clutch state when you need to. First off, we have pressure training. This means you need to artificially or actually create some pressure in your training situations. And you want to gradually increase that pressure in training situations. You can do this by creating artificial consequences for your performance. Try practicing with audiences, whether that's you go live on Instagram or you upload a video of you doing freestyle rides weekly. I guess you're wondering why I was doing that. Here's why. Simulate competition environments. Bring some music down. Play a live stream with commentary on in the background. Use time constraints. Force yourself to be in a rush to try and get in the water and get ready for your ride. Again, we have mental skills. Develop specific pre-performance routines. Practice your positive self-talk strategies. Use visualization, focusing on the precise execution. And our next one that I'm going to do my next video on is learning arousal regulation techniques. This combines to make your performance preparation. Create your detailed competition plans, including these routines. Practice decision-making under pressure. These can be little decision-making games that you see top athletes doing. There is a reason they do them. Develop clear performance cues. These are going to be very individual for each person. And you will figure out what those cues are by practicing this during training. And then establish your routine breaking strategies. If your routine gets broken, how do you work around that? How do you recover from that? Just because a routine has been broken does not mean the competition is over. After Swan's initial paper in 2017, he released another paper in 2019, which suggests the athlete can benefit from training both states, as we've talked about. He also gives some advice on how to integrate this training into your practice. Daily practice. Alternate between pressure and flow focus sessions. Keep training logs noting your mental state and experiences. Use video analysis focusing on both states. And have regular feedback from your coaches on observed mental states. Don't just get your coach to judge your freestyle kayaking. Get them to judge your attitude, your emotions, your feelings. Periodization. Plan your training cycles to target those specific mental states. Gradually increase pressure as competition approaches. Usually this isn't difficult because everyone kind of arrives at a competition venue and the pressure builds up as more people arrive. Use that to your advantage. Include recovery periods, focusing on flow state. Even as the competition comes up, focus on going out for a session and just having fun, flowing through the tricks, working through stuff, not really caring and trying to enter that subconscious flow state. schedule regular assessment of your mental skills and your mental state. This means sitting down with your coach and assessing where you are mentally on the lead up to competition and how you are dealing with this pressure and how you are working through that pressure and using it to enter clutch state when you need to. So in conclusion, both flow and clutch states are valuable tools in a freestyle kayaker's mental preparation arsenal. All of the studies from Swan and all the other studies that I've linked down below suggests that elite athletes can learn to access both of these states deliberately through different mechanisms. Flow might help you during skill development and your creative exploration. It's incredibly important for our sport. While clutch state becomes crucial during your competition or your high pressure situations. The key for all of us is to recognize which state might be more beneficial for a given situation and having the mental tools to access each when you need them. Now, future videos will discuss these strategies. Some of them will be in the tactical category of the TEPS framework. Some of them will be in the psychological category of the TEPS framework. It depends which one they lean more towards. As the sport continues to evolve, this dual understanding of peak performance states will become increasingly important for athletes looking to push their limits both in practice and in competition. Understanding these distinct different states can help coaches and athletes design their training programs to develop both the automatic effortless nature of flow and the deliberate focused control of clutch performance. This comprehensive approach to mental training may be the key to consistent excellence in freestyle kayaking. Let me know when you figure it out and how it works out for you. Now, as always, I'm one man doing his own research. If you have anything you'd like to add, drop it down below or send me a message on Instagram. And if you would like to collaborate on a video from the TEPS framework, technical, tactical, environmental, physical, psychological, social, let me know. I'd love to collaborate with more people throughout this series. Anyway, that's all for today. Best of luck and see you on the water and see you next time.